Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Joe Soro, and you are here for the debut of the Joe Soro Experiment. I'm your host, Joe Soro, and this is kind of via the Dodgers fast break due to the fact that this evening, I think it was really technically this evening for us, but a lot of you was at night in the East Coast. First opening, well, domestic opening game and Dodgers did very, very well, winning 5-4. And I'll go into the details on that in a little bit. I wanted to thank a few people for helping me get to this point. In a million years, I didn't think this particular process would be the way I'd go. But I want to thank Gerald Glassford, and Gerald will be here soon. He's going to be the first guest. Obviously, I think it's poetic that he would be the first guest, being that he brought me into the podcast world. And we'll go into more detail, obviously, on the Dodger games, and might throw in a few things in here and there. But I also wanted to thank my Australian brothers, Vari and Mark, for being here. Jay, your support is amazing. Serge sent me some emails today. Serge, thank you for the support already that you've already given me, and we're going to make you a mod on this as soon as possible. But and everyone else that's been subscribing, the subscriptions went up today immensely, and we're hoping that it continues to go up, and we hope to entertain everyone as we have on the Lakers Fast Break, as well as working with my man as well, Empire Jeff. Again, Empire Jeff played a role in this as well. Empire Jeff told me to get my ass in gear. Well, actually, technically, it was Gerald who told me, go get, you should do this. And then I thought it might have been overwhelming in terms of time. And then Jeff finally said, dude, just get off your ass and just do it. And here we are. So again, thank you all for the support. And we're going to do our best to make sure we make this a successful one. And we will. So I'm going to bring in Gerald. Let's see. Where are we, Gerald? There we go. Hey, Gerald, what's up?
Yes. What's up?
How you doing, bud? Thank you for being here. Gerald's been helping me in the background, getting all this set up. So I'm gonna dive into the Dodger game here in a second. The production value, the experiment is exactly that. We're going to be experimenting as we do this. I had some great help in terms of the already production value of the show, which is the graphics that you see. That was from Chris, the art director, and he's going to continue to help us as well. So thank you, Chris, the art director, for helping me kind of start this without really having anything. And we'll continue to add to that production value as time goes on. I'll be on Twitter. I probably have to get a paid account, so I got to figure that out. I'll be on Twitch. I'll be on Discord probably at some point. I just finally got on TikTok. So Gerald, sorry about that. I feel like I'm a traitor going to TikTok after getting your stuff getting kicked out. Maybe we have to figure out a way to get back in.
Get yours banned too, and I won't feel bad.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I don't know what kind of
another Bronny rant, perhaps.
I would rather not. I would rather not. I'd rather stick to the things that are relevant with the Lakers as much as it pains us, especially after what happened tonight. But I do want to go into what was extremely positive this evening, which is the Dodgers were able to open up their domestic home opener today, and in LA, and were able to unveil their banner. Not to go negative here at the beginning, Gerald, I'm sure you saw some of it. That was not really big on the banner that they have at Dodger Stadium. Someone had pointed out it looked like Mets colors, and then I started looking at it. I was like, now I can't unsee it. So, but I'm being picky. It's okay.
I know Raphael liked the gold touches on it.
No. The uniforms were great. The uniforms are great.
The banner you just hated.
The banner, I didn't understand why it had the Mets colors. I don't know. Maybe I'm colorblind and I can't see it. But it is it's a beautiful time, and for Dodger baseball and Dodger fans, it was this euphoria that really has not festered away since the World Series. I feel like we haven't, as Dodger fans, we haven't really gotten off this cloud, and you want to turn the page. You want to focus on what's going on this year, and we as fans are. I I had I had settled the 2024 season in the background of my mind, but it's different with this thing. It's what's coming. And thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it, brother. You're one of the reasons why I'm here. And and it's weird because I've never had this feeling for baseball. I had it for the Lakers. Football is always an interesting year by year like mental process. Winning a Super Bowl, I always equate winning a Super Bowl as winning like two championships in the NBA and winning two championships in baseball. Even though baseball has got this, there's a fallacy in baseball that there's only the big teams win. Well, there hasn't been a repeat champ since 2000. That's 25 years since the last repeat champion. The Yankees won in 99 and 2000. Actually, technically, they won 98, 99, and 2000. And if you look at football, which is supposed to be the quote unquote parody of sports, you've had the Patriots repeat, you've had the Kansas City Chiefs repeat. And if you look at the teams that are continuously in there, they are consistently there, winning championships either year, 1 year here, win again, lose here, win again. They're still there. And it just, I think it's funny how people will tell themselves what's going on when a lot of times it's just not true. So the feeling I have, and I think Jeff might agree with this, is we hold the 2024 season as the first step of second step, third step, and so on, because of the fact that this team has constructed itself in a way where they know that they have greatness in their hands, and it's going to be here for a while, and you have to take advantage of it. They have all the money in the world. We know the Guggenheims are richer than God. We get that, but I have seen plenty of ownerships that have close to that money, or at least were billionaires. And last time I checked, being a billionaire is a lot of money. And I haven't seen this kind of stuff since maybe the boss, Mr. Steinbrenner, the real Steinbrenner, George, where there's this insatiable appetite to where we have to win, we have to win, we have to win. And these guys might not be as gregarious as old George was, but they are very determined to make sure that they possibly could put together the greatest baseball dynasty that's ever been constructed. And dynasties are always a subjective thing to look at. And what I mean by that is some people can see a 2-year run. I mean, shoot, even the Houston Astros, I spelled that with two S's, by the way, because they've been competing for the last 8 years, and they won one World Series, really, but they counted as two. They were taught. I even read publications that might have been a dynasty because they had been in the World Series 4 times. I'm like, first of all, I can't call you a dynasty unless you win the World Series, win championships. Like, I don't count the appearances. The only way the appearances might hold some water is if it's one of those things where you went to the championship 10 times and you won 7 or 8 times. Then at that point, that makes a little more sense. But if you're winning one World Series and going to the World Series 3 times and losing, that, to me, that's not a dynasty. That's just, you're not winning enough to get that. So the Dodgers look like they have not missed a beat. They've already started the season 3-0. Today's game, I didn't like the scheduling of this. I didn't tell anybody until just now. Playing Detroit, I didn't like a interleague play to start the season. I thought, I would prefer to have some kind of a familiarity with somebody either in the division or at least somebody in the same league. So, and Detroit seems to be one of those teams that kind of scraps, and I knew deep down that they were going to scrap tonight. And And they did. They did. Snell got out of, by the way, Blake Snell, great first start. Those who don't know Blake Snell does have a habit of starting out the season slow, and then he starts to dominate after the All-Star break. So when you can see someone like Blake Snell, have an okay pitching day. It wasn't great. It wasn't very good, but I'd say it was C plus, B minus. He he battled, and sometimes it's a good thing, especially to get out the gate, get a little bit, kind of get those jitters out. I'm assuming he probably was a little nervous. Get those jitters out, get used to that kind of having guys on base and getting out with that third out. He did that a few times, and that to me, that was like good conditioning. He kind of started sprinting in your first workout. So I was encouraged at how he got out of those jams. And I noticed, I was looking, they weren't showing Dave Roberts as much today, but it's funny, no matter what was going on during the day, Dave Roberts looked like he was vacationing. He looked like he didn't have a freaking worry in the world. Didn't matter if it was getting scary towards the end there, and I'll get into that with Blake Triton. Didn't matter if Tanner Scott, allowed a run. Didn't matter if Vesia allowed a home run. Like, you're just looking at him every time they kind of panned at him. He's just like, I got 160 more of these things, so I'm just going to chill a little bit. And he had no reason not to think that way. Again, we saw what most of us kind of come to see when it comes to the Dodgers these days. I'm going to throw in my other guys too first, and then I'll end it on this one. Tommy Tanks hits a home run. Nothing's changed this last year, right? Hitting home runs when it matters. Teoscar Hernandez. They walk, or Skubal walks, not intentionally, but kind of walks bets on purpose to get that, I guess, Teoscar, who's going to be a little easier to strike out. One thing I noticed about Teo last year is when he did strike out, or when he swung badly, he seemed to always catch up to the ball after that. So today he struck out, right? And then on that at bat, when he had two on with Ohtani and Betts, as soon as Skubal threw that pitch, I mean, as soon as I saw where he was located, I was like, "Oh, Teo's going to hit this out." Boom, hits it out. Game goes from 2-1 after they had just taken a lead. And that's the other thing too, G. Every time this was happening in spring training, unless it was a complete blowout, but anything close, every time that a team would score, it seemed like the Dodgers would score on that next inning. So Detroit gets the pop fly and gets a run in to go up 2-1, and then Ohtani gets on. Mookie gets walked, and then Teo takes one out of the park. 4-2, and then slowly you started seeing kind of the same thing going on in the beginning of the game, where these guys are still scrapping, they're still hitting, and then Ohtani hits a home run. And I'm not lying when I say this. Again, when you're watching these guys play, when you're watching sports as much as we watch sports, you start getting that instinct in it. I said, watch that home run that Ohtani just hit. That's going to be the game winner in the end. And of course, it came down to the game winner because the Tigers ended up scoring 2 more runs, and then Blake tried in the end, pulled out his New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium pitching setup, where he kind of got people worried a little bit towards the end there, but ended up closing it out for the first domestic win of the 2025 season. Congratulations to the LA Dodgers. Congratulations to everyone that was there for the game, and of course everyone that was watching. A lot of our fans here are big Dodger fans as well, so thank you. Again, thank you for being here. And I was watching, I think 80% of the game driving home. I was coming back from San Diego, and I missed the first quarter and a half of the Laker game, and then was able to split screen the games as much as I could. And I was hanging out with you guys. But yeah, it was good. And this is going to be one of many discussions on the game, and I'll get into more detail here. I'm going to talk to Gerald here a little bit and answer some of your guys' questions if you guys have any. I haven't had a chance to look at the comment section yet, other than a few. But Gerald, I don't know if you caught the game. I don't know if you were watching other games,
Oh yeah, I was
but
watching both the Dodgers and Lakers and some of the March Madness as well. But I will say first off, if you want to open up another tab, you can start making and issuing out mods. If you go into the YouTube version, you go on YouTube and go into your channel. You can
okay.
go ahead and make your mods there. Um, and by the way, make sure you give both privileges to Sports Baby and Xbox, because if you do one over the other, they're not going to let you live it down, my friend.
Well, I'll tell you what, the comedy show that my Australian brothers continue to bestow on us is it's just my kind of activity. Gerald is a little more subtle. As much as Gerald gets excited sometimes, he's more of a subtle man. I'm more not subtle. So the comedy that comes from Mark and Vari, aka Sports Baby, is it's constant, and the stimulation. So we talk about dopamine these days. That's the hot word, right? The hot flash word. Oh, dopamine. It's constant dopamine with our crew, with Mark and Sports Baby. So thank you guys. I'll be making you guys mods here soon. Search and Destroy will be coming on soon as well. I told him I would make him a mod as well, and we'll start putting this thing together the way it's supposed to. I saw Chris.
Yeah, Chris, the art
Chris,
director.
what's
Yeah.
up, buddy? How you doing, bud? Thanks for coming, man. I'll go ahead and start setting up. But oh, anyways, I wanted to ask you about opening day. So, are you one of those guys that likes opening day? Is it something that's like, ooh, I'm ready for opening day?
I was when I was a kid. Now realizing there's 162 games. There's 162 games ahead. It may be a little bit more daunting, just like when we talk about the Lakers and realize, oh, at the end of your first night, as far as opening night on Lakers, man, you got to do this 81 more times. Um, it doesn't have the same panache for me as it once did. But Major League Baseball, when I still watch it, it's now more enjoyable to watch than it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They have really made elements to speed up the game and make it more desirable to a younger audience, or a casual audience, I should say, which in turn makes it more enjoyable for me to go ahead and watch on a more regular basis. But yes, when I was a kid, baseball and basketball were pretty even, because I loved the Dodgers as a kid. Garvey, say, Russell, Lopes were my deal, and listen to Vince Scully on my orange transistor radio every day was just like something that it seemed like a privilege, and was just so enjoyable to do. He had a way of telling you, intertwining the stories and the gameplay that was going on the field at the same time so well. It was just so fascinating to listen to it. Same thing with Chick Hearn, because we were so blessed for years, Joe, for decades. We had two of the best there ever was behind the mic in Chick Hearn and Vince Scully. So it doesn't have the same panache I once did. What I was watching today on the Vari SB and Xbox channel, along with Raphael. Big shout out to Raphael 562. It seemed like everybody's just, like you said, euphoric. They're still in that stage, Joe, because it just seemed like, from all the stars that were there to just regular people. Although I did say I would love to have been on that conversation with Billie Jean King and Sandy Koufax, just listening in on that. What do they talk about? What do two of the greatest of all time in the world of sports say to each other? Probably just talking about tacos or hot dogs or something like that. But still, just being in the presence of that kind of sports greatness would have been just so cool to have. But yeah, just it's, I should say, when it's becoming more interesting again as a casual fan because of the success of the Dodgers and where it's going. I'm concerned though that the league may get pressure from other sources to try and spoil the Dodgers party at some point in time down the road. not this year, maybe not next year, but sometime down the road, if there is a true Dodgers dynasty in the making.
So I'm my Dodger fandom has had an ebb and flow. A lot of it was I lived in San Diego from 1996 through 2009. Before 1996, I lived in the Central Valley in California. So, and then at that time, there wasn't the MLB extra innings package, and the only time we were able to watch the Dodgers was to see them on ESPN or TBS if they're playing the Atlanta Braves, or WGN if they're playing the Cubs. But even then, your mindset isn't set to be invested in that way. You'd have to be home, because if you look at the schedule at that time when I was a kid, you're going to school, you're going to football practice, and then you're coming home at what, 7. uh it's not in the cards to you're eating dinner with the fam. You're not really, it's hard to, it had to be a weekend thing a lot of times, or if it was a vacation or things like that. When you're an adult, I think that's one thing that I always try to explain to people. There are a lot of things that suck right now, but there's also a lot of things almost evenly that are so much better now. Number one, I do like making my own money. I like, as much as I love my parents' home, I do like having my own house. And I like having my own schedule. I don't have to go to school, at least not the traditional way. So looking at it from that angle, it's easy to explain. Well, at that time, it's hard to be invested like you are now. So opening day is special because it's the beginning of a long season, and it's baseball, and it's the pastime, and you're excited about 6 months, 7 months of no activity. But the issue with opening day for a while with this Dodger team was I hated opening day because it reminded me of another year that they didn't win it, and they should have. And that was my issue with opening day for a while. It's like I have no energy to go and be excited about opening day, because it's like they should have won and they didn't, and now I got to sit through 162 games, whether I'm watching them or whether I'm keeping track of them. I can't, it's like I keep thinking, am I going to waste another regular season of my time? And then they just kind of crap out in the playoffs. To this year, and it was hard to think. I wasn't against the opening day in 2021, because they did win in 2020. But even 2021, around that time, COVID was still lingering, so I wasn't sure if they were gonna. I don't know what was going on with being able to go to the ball game. So there was that excitement wasn't there anyways, even though they had won the previous year. But this year, this was the first time without any barriers or any preemptive possibilities of something not working since 1988. And even in 88, I don't remember 1989's opening day. I was a kid. I paid attention to baseball. I collected baseball cards. I knew the players. I knew some of the history here and there, but I'm not like, I can't get online like I can now and look at things the way I do, and kind of learn and add to my already vast knowledge in what the game is about. So this is truly like, this last 7 months encompassed for the first time as an adult, where I'm like, you went through an entire season and you validated that season. And not only did you validate the season by winning it all, you validated it with as good of a run against quality teams and an iconic team at the end to really put the perfect button on this. And it's just, I can't help but just be excited the fact that I finally had that opportunity to see it. And then now we've accepted 2024 as closed, but because there's a focus in the longevity of this next run, this is just an extension. It's closed off behind it, but it's an extension of what is planned to be done. And that is, especially for the Dodgers, the first time the Dodgers have an opportunity here for the first time to repeat. They've been in existence since 1884. They've never repeated. So this would be not only a history-making championship should they win it, just from a back-to-back, repeat status situation, but it's also going to be a Dodger history moment where they can finally say, "Hey, we won back-to-back, back-to-back." A championship, it validates you no matter what, but back-to-back, we've been fortunate enough, Gerald, to watch the Lakers win 1, 2, 3 repeated championships. And watching a third one, I remember this is going to sound funny. I remember when the Lakers won the third one, because I had seen Jordan do it twice before, I didn't feel the amazement of a three-peat. I was ready to get amazed by a four-peat. And the only team I had known at that time that four-peated that was within our lifetime was the New York Islanders of the 80s, which I had not seen a stick of any of those games. It's too young. And I didn't know how good they were. And at that time, even the Islanders I always felt like the Islanders were the Clippers of New York. Everybody always talked about the Rangers, or they even talked about the New Jersey Devils. They never talked about They never talked about the Islanders in the 90s, and that was the most time I spent watching hockey. So I didn't have any of that four-peat from the Islander thing anywhere in my thoughts. I just had the 2 3-peats by Jordan. I'm like, well, Kobe and Shaq three-peated. Cool. Now it's time to get 4. You got to pass Jordan. Obviously, they didn't do it. But then years later, I learned to appreciate the fact that I watched one of my teams three-peat. That's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy considering you thought it was not that big of a deal even then, even though you was dumb enough to even think it. But with this team, baseball is such a fickle sport. It's such a momentum sport. Today's game, this evening's game, was indicative of that. You have a team like the Detroit Tigers, who I think their payroll is like 22, I think. It might be even less. They got this payroll that's not even close to anything close to any big market, not even a middle market. And yet their guys were just they were just battling. And that's what could happen. See, Skubal is a true ace. He was the Triple Crown winner of the AL Cy Young Award winning. He was the total package. And much like Garrett Cole in the World Series, if a couple things go a certain way, Garrett Cole could have very well have been a 2-time winner in the World Series, and possibly the Yankees maybe win the championship. Now, I know I'm saying ifs and whats and maybes, but the point is, those two types of pitchers, when it comes to baseball, it doesn't matter how good your team is, because if they happen to catch you on your heels, and all of a sudden it's 6 innings in and they're not allowing a run, and then your team or his team is got like 4 or 5 runs, that the game's over. Even if the bullpen doesn't, pitch a shutout, it's likely going to be over. And that's the difference with baseball is an ace can stop a great team no matter what at the right time. But luckily for the Dodgers, they didn't have that problem last year, no matter who they were pitching against or whoever was pitching against them. And today felt like a residual of last year as well. It just keeps happening. It was happening in spurts during spring training. I just think the Dodgers have as soon as Roberts got away from analytics 100%, it changed the entire dynamic of this team. Obviously, Andrew Friedman, adding key pieces, halfway through the season, as well as in free agency the year before, obviously, Joe Otani. And you have this team that just never really is ever really out of it. And then once they get a lead, it's like, this door is going to get shut. And it doesn't matter if they take the pitcher out in the 5th inning. It doesn't matter if they take him out in the 6th or the 7th. They're going to have enough pitchers to take that game home. And they did it again tonight, winning the game 5-4 against the Tigers. Now, tomorrow, I had forgotten who was going to start, so I had to check the schedule. Turns out that Yoshinobu Yamamoto will be pitching tomorrow. I thought maybe Tyler Glasnow might be pitching. I'm not sure if that's a matchup thing. Probably not. But tomorrow Yamamoto will be taking the mound, and then our good friend Jack Flaherty will be pitching for the Detroit Tigers. And tomorrow is also ring night, which makes sense because Jack's going to get his ring being in town, and then of course the Dodgers are going to get their rings. Now there's a small chance that I may be at this game. Jeff and I have been talking about that. I have to go to Fresno for the weekend, so I was thinking if I end up making that call, I'd head up there, watch the game, and then start heading out after the game up there.
Which I thought was hilarious when you broke the news to John Costa earlier.
Why was it funny?
Be down in your neck of the woods.
Oh, yeah. I God dang it! If I had known that, he's gonna see his brother again. I'm gonna. You know what I'm gonna do? The next time he goes to see his brother, I'm gonna go see him. I'll just go over there. It doesn't matter if he's hanging in the backyard at his brother's place, whatever. I don't care. I'll go over there this time and make sure I see him. So between you, I haven't seen Sean yet. I'll end up seeing John Stone. I had my chance, but he moved to Nashville, so I don't know when that's going to happen. But the Aussie boys, I did talk to him. I said I'm going to try to plan a trip maybe next year to go see him.
Where did we
Search.
Search.
Search. I went ahead and.
I thought it was good. You just stopped showing up on the LFB. We thought everything was good.
Where? Who? Search.
Yeah, he said we fight sometimes. I'm like,
yes,
no, you
Joe
were right.
and Gerald, my brothers, but we fight sometimes.
Yeah, you were right on that first occasion. Yeah, you were in the right. I give it all to you. But I don't know why you left last time. We Joe and I were just like, hadn't seen Search in a while. We miss him, but we just hope you're doing well. So I just want the best for you and your family.
Great. Search is doing great. Search has already extended his services to the show, and I want to thank him for that. And this is going to be
although you did create 2 Australian monsters in Xbox and Sports Baby.
So Gerald, you've heard me say this. You guys have heard me. Australia is my secret country without me even being like. I actually think my previous life, I might have been a kangaroo in Australia. That might have been where I was before. I am not exaggerating this. I don't know what it is about Australians. Doesn't matter if it's men, women, if it's a casual walk through in a restaurant. I've always clicked with Australians. I don't know why. I have no idea why. I don't sound Australian. I don't know the culture in Australia. I watched Crocodile Dundee. That's as much Australian as I knew until I met Mark and Barry. I don't have no idea.
You heard Men in White. You heard Men at Work talk about a Vegemite sandwich. There you go.
Okay, Men at Work, as in, are you talking about the band?
Yes,
or the movie?
Land Down Under. Do you come?
Okay, so I kind of got what you said there, but see, when I hear Men at Work, I'm sorry, folks. The first thing I think of is Charlie Sheen and his brother. That if you guys want to die laughing, watch that '90s classic, Men at Work. Charlie Sheen, his brother Emilio Estevez, freaking hilarious. Keith David is in that movie, crying, like laughing. That's how funny that guy was. So yeah, that's my first instinct when I hear Men at Work. Let's see here, Joe. We are learning from you. Yes, and as to reciprocate, Mark, I'm going to learn more about. Okay, is it Varsa or Barca?
It's Barca, like Barcelona.
Okay, I've always heard it as Barca.
So did I, but you know what? I'm thinking Barcelona from now on. I'm going to follow what Aussies follows because
Okay, whatever.
as our
Mark,
Aussie friends follow because if Mark that's what Mark wants, that's what Mark says. We're going to go with what Mark says.
Mark, remind me remind me when you do playback again to pronounce it for me so I know how to say it right. I want to know how to say it so that if I'm at a Barca game, I don't sound like a jerk off. That's as easy as I can put it.
Best way to do is let's watch a game. Watch the announcers. How do they pronounce
Yeah.
it?
So Sports Baby's been. I think Sports Baby might be broadcasting some of those games as well with Mark. So I'll
Yes.
the next time,
Yeah,
guys, just remind me the next time the game is on. I'll go ahead and watch, and then I'll start following. I lost a lot of the little knowledge I had of soccer from like 15, 16 years ago when I used to work with an internet show that talked soccer. Inside Soccer was the show. The so I want to. I'm a sports guy, man. I think it's best that it's always good to know other sports that you don't watch, just in case you do find yourself at the World Cup, or maybe watching Messi in Miami for whatever reason, and Ronaldo somewhere, whatever. Sorry, Mark, I'm just using famous soccer names. That way I know.
You always have to dance through the
Oh,
dandelions when you mention
Gerald,
that
honestly,
name.
man, this Kobe versus so I've lived through. I've lived. Here's what I've lived through, guys. I've lived through the Jordan versus Magic argument. I've lived through the Jordan versus Kobe argument. I've lived through the Kobe LeBron argument. And then, of course, now LeBron versus Jordan argument. I have lived and I have battled that argument, all of them, probably equally. The only difference is this last one, I've done it in public. I've done those things. I've done those arguments since the 90s. Because
And he
that's what
said next week. John said next week a matchup. It's got to be a matchup between you two. I got to figure out which off day to put it on, but gonna be
John is going to be in trouble, especially after what happened today.
he wants it. He wants it. I told him we need to set a date. The audience has asked for a specific show on it. I'll mediate. We'll do a poll. All that. We'll do some hype up on it on all of our channels and all that. So yeah,
Good. We'll make it worth everybody's while. Mark
kind of went down. His argument kind of went down just a teeny little bit after tonight.
Mark, I have my best friend. I'm talking the kind of best friend where if he needed me to bury a body in the backyard, no questions asked. He's a Ronaldo fan. So sorry, but I don't want to bother Mark. Sorry, Mark. I had to say it.
Do you want Mark to stay watching your channel?
Gerald, where are we doing the game? Hold on, see. Sam Khan would be like calling Kobe second of all time is delusional. Kobe is not better than Shaq. I had made it clear that Kobe is my number 2. And no matter what anyone says, other than maybe Kobe fans, they're always going to think I'm being biased. But for me, I've seen Kobe play in his entire career. I saw Jordan practically play his whole career, and I've seen LeBron play his whole career. I think I trust Kobe more than I trust anybody other than Michael Jordan. What eventually held Kobe back in his career, some of the details was the fact that he didn't have, again, I've said the gear part where he just didn't have that extra gear that Michael had. Michael had another gear, the God-given gear that Kobe didn't have, but Kobe was pretty damn good too. So no fault to that. I don't think anybody could be fortunate enough to have Michael's athleticism. That was a different beast. Jay, you got to invite Sam over here. I want to hear more of the Kobe hate, because over here I can also start really dropping the ball on him too. Not that I couldn't on LFB, but I'm going to have a little bit more production value here where I can really start doing some fun stuff. Let's see here. So Man, it's amazing how fast time goes. It was like we just started and it's 41 minutes later. Let's see, where are we here? We're not a bad crowd actually. I wasn't expecting 7 to 10 people here. Thank you everyone for showing up. Um, Gerald, we need to get you your own name on the list here instead of mine. I wonder how that could get done. We'll have to look
Well, I
up
got
that
to
after the
log in.
show.
I would have to log in as someone else. That's I'll just do it on
Oh,
YouTube. You just go
because
into
I
the
have you as
YouTube.
a. Don't I have you? I have you as an admin.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
logging in as you
Okay.
because you asked me to help you out on this.
Right. Right.
But
Right. Right. So what I
I
want
could
to do
just go
is
ahead and Joe. I could just go ahead and I'm on YouTube now. I'm on YouTube on a different tab,
okay.
and could just comment from there so people can
Okay.
see you.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't care. I just want to kind of learn what's going on here.
You still need to open up another tab and go to YouTube. Otherwise, uh, you'll have to wait until this chat regenerates again in about
yeah.
a day or so
Well,
before you're
it's
able to
working out.
join.
It's working much better than I thought it would. Not that I thought it was going to be bad. I thought it was. It's the first time I've done this. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. I like that. But let's get back to the Dodgers fast pitch part of the show here. I know I'm going back and forth here, but that's kind of the whole point of the experiment. But this is the first show was supposed to be the dedication to the Dodgers fast pitch, to the Dodgers game today for the opening of the domestic season. I kind of wanted to end it. Rafa, what's up, man? How you doing, bud? Thanks, G. Thanks for putting it up there. Um, what is that favorite word I like to use, G, that I can't pronounce? Superlative?
Superlatives.
I don't know why. I gotta just sit and say that over and over again until I get it like I did Massachusetts. Massachusetts was. No, I'm not gonna try
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
that one. That one you can keep that one. I don't want to do that one. But the superlatives at this point, is there a superlative of
Superlative.
superlatives? I don't even know what to say anymore about Shohei Ohtani.
It's just about staying healthy. But then again, I just the thing I came back at you with Ohtani is remember I was a Dodgers fan first. I became an Angels fan during the 2000s when they won, but you know the way that they've just ruined the organization, the mismanagement, and the fact is they should have traded Ohtani and Trout when they had the opportunity to. I've again regained my faith in the Dodgers, as I told you in recent years, and I told you with Ohtani, I just don't want to see him pitch. I really don't. I understand he's a good pitcher. I understand he's a great pitcher, but I just want to see him out there on the field creating things like he did today when he hit his home run. I really think that it's just a health issue. You and I went back and forth on this. You know, should he pitch next year? Should he not? And it's up to you guys. It's up to the Dodgers if they really think it's going to be something where he is really going to give you that next level that he can give you, that he once gave you as a pitcher. But I'm not sure if it's wise to do so. I would love to see him just out there 45 games this year doing what he needs to do on the offensive end. But that again, that's just me. That's just me because you should have enough of a pitching staff if they're healthy, Joe, to get you where you want them to go.
Yeah, sorry about that search. My guys, Mark and Sports Baby are they're like my brothers. So I put them on there for just security reasons. But you're the only one. It's you and my Australian brothers. That's it. I'm not putting anyone else on there until we get to where we need to go. Gerald, I talked to Jeff about this on his show, and you can't. I remember when Deion Sanders. I remember when Deion Sanders was playing both sports. This is after Bo Jackson got hurt, and Tim McCarver kind of dumped on him on live television, and then what ended up happening was I think the Braves ended up going to the World Series. He looked at Tim McCarver. He ended up spilling the ice on him, and there was this whole like passive aggressive thing going on between him and Tim McCarver. At the time, I was a kid. I didn't really understand what was going on. Really, I didn't know how to interpret it at that time. Wasn't as seasoned as I am now. But at that time, as a kid, I'm like, why are people like Dion playing both sports is really cool. Dude, he's doing something that's just not normal, and it's cool to watch. A guy playing in a World Series and then playing in a Super Bowl? That's crazy. And even Dion doesn't give himself enough credit for being a baseball player, and actually a pretty good one. He can actually hit the ball. It's hard to
Yes.
hit a baseball. This guy played for the Yankees. He played in the World Series. He probably, if he focused on baseball alone, could have had a very, very good career. He wouldn't have been a Hall of
Yes.
Famer probably, but because he was obviously much better as a football player. But the fact that you're even playing in the majors is not. I don't think Dion is given enough credit of how phenomenal of an athlete and freakishly athlete he was. Props to Brian Jordan too. He was one of his teammates in Atlanta as well as in Atlanta for the Braves. Uh, Looking at that and then fast forwarding to now, don't you want to see something that you're probably never going to see again, Gerald?
Yeah, but I don't want it to shorten your
Okay,
chances at a season.
let's say
That's
this.
my concern. That's my concern, Joe.
Let's
Is
just
the
say
health of
this.
the Dodgers.
Let's say this. Let's just make this discussion like all the way through. Let's say next year he messes up his arm again and he's out for the year. What's the worst that can happen after the season's over? He's done pitching. He comes back healthy, and he'll never. That's it, right? And it sucks because you lose him for the stretch run. But then the other side. But what are the chances of that happening? I mean, he already messed up his elbow last year, and he still was dropping 50-50. So for me, he knows his body very well. I think they're monitoring it really well to where I don't think it'll be an issue. But man, Gerald, if this guy comes in and pitches in June, July, August, September, okay, and he ends up getting like 16 starts and wins 12, 13 games, pitches a 2.5 ERA, and then hits 40 for 40. I don't think he's going to hit. The way he's starting right now, Gerald, I think he's going to hit 50 for sure again. But then I have to factor in the pitching, so I don't know yet, right? But let's just say he does get tired towards the end of the year. But he's got 12 or 13 wins, a 2.5 ERA, and I say 12, 13 wins, meaning he's let's say 12-3. No, it's 12-2. Let's say 12-2, because a few of those games are going to be no decisions, right? So let's say he goes 12-2 out of the 16 starts and pitches a 2.5 ERA and hits 40 for 40. There's a chance he might win the Cy Young with that kind of pitching record. Maybe not. Maybe so. But another 40 to 40 with that pitching, he's guaranteed to win the MVP again in a unanimous fashion. And for me, talking about it with Jeff, the Cy Young, if he just wins the Cy Young, let's say he doesn't win the MVP, just the Cy Young, to me, he ends up being number one after that. Even above Babe Ruth, even above Barry Bonds. Right now, Barry Bonds is still ahead of him in my book. And Babe Ruth is ahead of Barry Bonds. My
And what he's
hierarchy,
doing now is in modern baseball is just absolutely incredible. I would
it is.
not.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm
not gonna argue with you on that.
But and that's the thing, is to put a button on this. And I think it's worth the risk, because this is not greatness. This is a millennial, not a millennial, a millennial every 1,000-year type, or I'm sorry, what's 100 years? This is every 100-year opportunity. That's right there. Can he come through and say, I am going to put together the greatest I know it was Century Ref, but I think I got mixed up in my head because I was talking about things. But thanks for that. Just imagine putting that added bonus onto your career. Imagine having a Cy Young to boot with your MVPs and an MVP that same year, and you win a championship. The guy would seal the deal. And I think that's worth it. And I think it's worth it because I want to see the century ability, the once in a century ability. I want to see it. Just like I wanted to see the Chiefs win this last Super Bowl, to see a three-peat, first three-peat in Super Bowl history. Didn't get a chance to see it. Just like how I wanted to retroactively see the Patriots win a Super Bowl in 07 to go 19-0. At the time, I was cheering for the Giants because I hated the Patriots. But looking back on it, I think it would have been really cool to see them win a Super Bowl going 19-0 because I don't think we'll ever see for sure now that they've added 2 more games and they're going to add a third here, another one when they make it an 18-game season. We're probably never going to see an undefeated team for sure at that point. Please like and subscribe to the JSO, and the JSO means Joe Soro Experiment. We have experimented tonight a little. Some of the same old stuff, some of the repeated information, but yeah, it's going to be an ongoing experiment here, Gerald. We're going to get the production value where it needs to be, and we're going to mind meld. I always think of mind meld when I think of The Breakup. Remember the movie The Breakup with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston? When he was mind melding, and that's when everything went to hell. Right after you couldn't mind meld with her when they were playing that game. But to finish off the Ohtani thing before we head out, so Ohtani today had 4 at-bats, 2 hits, 1 single, 1 home run, scored 2 runs, had an RBI, and sometimes I'm ashamed. I am absolutely ashamed to say this, but sometimes I feel like it's not enough. When he doesn't get a hit, I'm shocked. This is not like today or the last few weeks. Since he's become a Dodger, when he doesn't get a hit or he strikes out, my first instinct is to say, what's wrong with him? Like, that's the instinct, even though my brain and my heart usually are like, dude, relax. He's not going to make every hit. Like, my brain and my heart are constantly playing with each other going, no, wait, Ohtani was supposed to hit that. No, fool. He's not going to go 4 for 4 in every game. Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know why. I don't remember. I don't know if I think with Barry Bonds, when I'd watch Barry Bonds play, I was just like, they're going to walk him. Every time he went on at the plate, I'm like, they're going to walk him. I think the enthusiasm was always gone. I'm wondering why they don't. Why do you think that's not the case with Ohtani, Gerald? Especially with the stacked lineup that they have? Would Ohtani have to really sit on pitches and really make the pitcher work for him to force teams to walk him? Or because he's a leadoff hitter and he's fast, and when you look at Barry towards the end there, well, not to the end, but the era where he was playing with some help, he wasn't necessarily going to steal a lot of bases, correct? And he wasn't batting leadoff. So that would have been an interesting scenario. What if the Giants had put Barry at the 1? Would he have walked as much?
I think he would have. He would have. Yeah.
Okay. If you walk him though, and if he was a threat to steal, would they walk him? I got to look back at some of the information at that time. There was more traditional baseball decisions made in the late 90s and early 2000s. Now you could have Tommy Edman bat cleanup and then bat ninth all in like a series. I don't see I think I see a change in philosophy there, or what they probably would. Maybe you're right. Maybe they still would walk him because then, what's your choice? If you serve him the ball, it's gonna be 1-0 at the beginning of every game, right? Is that what it is? Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I wonder if they ever, but are they ever going to put Botani back to cleanup? Probably not, huh?
No, I think they will. Just it's situational, or if they need to spice things up. If the Dodgers start to struggle for some reason, the first managerial thing we always see in baseball, Joe, is well, shake up the lineup just for a bit and see how it goes. If Otani's not doing as great for a little while in the leadoff spot, put him back to 2, 3, or 4 just to give him a little bit of chance to go ahead and maybe see the ball a little bit differently, get some runs knocked in there, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't say you will never see Otani at the 4 spot because again, these managers always go to, despite the analytics, always go to some tried and true things, and shaking up the lineup when you're struggling always seems to be one of them. So I won't say we will never see Otani at the 4 spot, but I like Otani at the leadoff spot. I think it's right where in this current point in time the best place for him is.
Yeah, it's nice to know that more often than not, this guy will be on base, and he's going to be a threat to advance, and it just adds more pressure to every single opponent because you have to face the modern day murderer's row. This is as murder of a row as I think you can ever have. Even the early 2000 Yankee lineups, I don't think were this good. The Giambis, when they signed the Giambis, and got the I think Tino Martinez had left at that point, but they started signing some of the big free agents, and then coincidentally they didn't win championships with those guys. They were winning with Tino Martinez. They were winning with Scott Brocious. Those like perfect Robert Ory type guys with all the stars like Andy Pettit, Derek Jeter, Posada, Rivera, and Bernie, of course. Can't forget Bernie. And this team, I don't know how. Look at Pajes. I mean, look what he did today. Wanted to make sure I threw some support to Pajes. Pajes was, man, he made a ace pitcher really, really work today. And this guy is the 9th batter. If he doesn't turn into James Outman out of nowhere, this guy has a future. And he made some really good plays out in left field too. So, by the way, Conforta did not play today. And Conforta arguably had the best spring training of all the guys. Might have had the best spring training. And
that doesn't always translate though, Joe.
Maybe not. But if you understand the purpose of his signing and why, and understanding the dynamics of how he's going to be put in with this roster, and how he's going to be able to, he's going to get pitches that he would never get in San Francisco, that he would never get in New York, where he was playing initially, became an all-star. He's not going to get those pitches in LA. He is going to get opportunities to essentially be the Teoscar Hernandez on the left side. So whatever pitcher you got going, you have so many issues dealing with a lineup with a guy that didn't even play today. Conforta, imagine this. You have Conforta, let's say batting, let's say Conforta's batting 5th, and then you have Teo batting 4th. So now Teo can kill left-handed pitching, right? He did today. He hit a 3-run homer. But then if you have a right-handed pitcher, You might be able to neutralize Teo, but the next batter is going to be Conforto. So the roster construction from Andrew Friedman at this point, I mean, this season, as great as last season was, they got Yamamoto, they got Shohei. But to me, those are not the 2023 signings. Actually, they got Yamamoto, I think, in December. Those were 2023 signings. Friedman's 24 signings are, in my view, what should put him as executive of the year and executive of the decade when the decade is over. The signings that he's made, especially if they end up winning it all, this will be the year that you could put that nice, shiny, non-Gaylord 12th place plaque. I'm talking number 1, not 12. You could put that number 1 plaque at the top of Dodger Stadium, because getting Edman, I'm talking about the 2024 signings, right? Getting Edman, getting, even though he's not with them anymore, getting Flaherty, getting Teoscar re-signed, getting Snell, all these guys that just added to the fact that they're just going to go out there and choke you to death until you submit. That right there should give him Kopech as well. Thank you, Rafa. I'm so overwhelmed with all the signings. You just forget sometimes everybody they signed. But again, it was a beautiful day to start the day. It was a beautiful game to start this amazing potential of the season. I'm crossing my fingers to see if I can get there tomorrow. If not, again, I'll still be watching. And we'll be doing the Dodgers Fast Pitch regularly. I'm not sure how the daily activity will be, but my man Search mentioned something to me in email not too long ago, and I'm going to make sure that we stay going to the gym. I'm going to use that comparison. We want to stay working out with the show. I don't know what that means yet. I'm going to feel out my workouts. Is it going to be one of those things where I work out a couple days, take a rest, and then go back and do a couple days, and then take the weekend off? These are all analogies, by the way, guys. I'm not literally saying I'm going to go Monday, Tuesday like a workout. But my point is, I've been in phases where I've worked out for 36 straight days. There have been phases where I've worked out 4 days a week. And then there's been phases where I work Monday through Saturday and taking Sunday off. That kind of schedule, those kind of schedules are always dependent on kind of where my mind is, where my focus is, and how my time can be allocated. But besides that, Gerald, thank you for helping me put this thing together. And thank you for helping me put it together as we go on. Again, it's been a huge help. And I will continue to obviously do my duty with the Lakers Fast Break. And we'll find a little niche here for everyone. And then, of course, everyone that's been watching here, again, I'm very surprised that I've gotten at least a double-digit night here. That's been pretty consistent. I wanted to go an hour. I wanted to just kind of get my feet wet here, feel out the program, get some questions answered. Search, I wasn't expecting you to be as gracious today as you are. Thank you so much for being here and putting the word out here for us. I promise to reciprocate. And again, Rafa, my Australian brothers, anyone that I forgot, obviously, Jeff, if you're still listening, thank you for watching. We'll tease the shows from here on out, so you'll get a chance to know when we're coming on. And if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to hit me up on X. You can reach me at Joe Soro OX. I believe it's set up here. I don't think I've had it. I don't think I have it up here, do I? Hold on. So, Joe Soro X. There we go. Again, I'm not on X like, let's say, Jeff is, or a lot of the guys that do this thing yet. I plan to. I got to feel my way out, and got to feel my way in that. The other thing is I just joined TikTok, so I'm going to try to figure out how to work through that. I still got to set up my Instagram page and I got to set up my Facebook page as well. And I'll have all that set up so that there are several avenues for us to spread the word out and have people watch it. And if there's any other suggestions, any questions, guys, please again hit me up on my social media, and I'll go ahead and make sure I answer to that. I'll give you guys right now my Facebook and my Sin Blades pages in case you do have Instagram and Facebook. You can reach me on the direct messaging there. Johnny Blade with the Dodger World Order logo. That's very easy. Again, Johnny Blade, JOHNNY space Blade, like a blade of grass. You can reach me on Facebook through there. You can friend me, and I'll go ahead and accept you. On Instagram, I'm on Sinblades_turf. You can hit me up on there. I'll make sure that I answer any of your questions there as well. I'm gonna try to see what my schedule might look like. I'm gonna maybe have something mobile eventually too, so that if I am out of town, I can go ahead and come on here and still do my thing remotely. We're gonna see how things play out. The Laker game tonight really kind of put a damper on a great day, but I wanted this to be more of a Dodgers show and obviously more of an opening for the actual specific show for us, so that you guys can kind of get a feel of what we're going to be talking about here. And until the next time, we'll have a great morning, have a great afternoon, have a great evening, everyone, and all across the country, all across the world. Until next time, I'll see you next time.